All right. Um, okay. So what we're going to learn today is something called uh, financial solver. Financial solver. Now, financial solver is a part of your uh, CAS. So if you open up your TI CAS or your the other CAS that you have, Casio CAS, ClassPad, uh, it is it's a part of it's a part of that CAS. So if I go to menu finance financial solver, this is what I get, right? Obviously, your settings can show you less number of decimal places. My settings float values are slightly off. Now, what does this actually mean? All of these text values on the left hand side. What exactly do they mean? Let's understand them uh, first, and then we will try a question. Now, so the first value when you open up your financial solver, basically, why are we using financials? Financial solver helps us to do calculations pretty quickly, which will require us otherwise to use formulas that we have learned so far and a bit more complicated to solve. So it eliminates the use of complex compound interest or reducing loan balance kind of formulas, with regular payments and even without regular payments as well that you learned as a part of the financial maths journey. So this is a very powerful tool that can eliminate all the formulas that you've learned to quickly get straight to the point and get to your answer, right? So that's why this tool is being used. Now, when you see the financial solver, first thing that you see is N. If you look at it, it is the N here. You see here, N. Now, N is the number of payments involved in the question. So, for example, if I have a loan or a compound or an investment scenario where someone has invested for maybe 10 years and they're doing, let's say, monthly payments or repayments, then N will be 120. Not the years, the total payments involved. Now, let's say if someone's not doing monthly payments, they're doing quarterly payments, but for 10 years, then I'll say 10 times 4, this becomes 40. If someone's doing yearly payments, then obviously you become 10 times 1, so it becomes 10, and so on. So it is very important to understand the total time frame, number of years that are being, you know, that's being written in the question, but how much is the actual, what is the frequency times the number of years is what N is all about, right? Monthly payment is 12 in a year, and 10 years can make it 120, right? Number of payments involved during the course of the problem from start to finish. Now, the next one is called the I. I is nothing but very simple interest rate, but annual interest rate, yearly interest rate. So if in a question you are given, let's say 2% per month, so I will be 2 times 12, 24%. It always talks about the annual. The word per annum actually tells you per year, right? So I is always the interest rate per year. The next one is the PV. It's called the present value of your investment. If I have taken a loan of, let's say, $100,000, the present value of that loan outstanding on the zeroth payment, at the zero value of n, at the zero value of n, when I'm just kicking off, is called the present value. So if I've taken 100,000 loan, at the start, my PV will be 100,000. But you will always see that your PV, and they will study something called an FV, and there's something called PMT as well. They always have positive and negatives involved with them, along with the numbers. So what are those positives and negatives? Let's understand the very basic of the positives and negatives that we are going to apply in a financial solver. So the basic says that any money, if this is my bank account, this is my bank account, or the person's bank account, the person in the question's bank account, any money coming into the bank is always positive. Any money going out of the bank account is always negative. That's the principle of financial solver. So whenever you are doing financial solver and you have to come down and write the values for PV, PMT, and FV, you need to consider the amount in question and whether that's going into person's bank account or going out of person's bank account. So if I have taken a loan, if I have taken a loan of $100,000, it is going to come into my bank account from the lender. So I'm not concerned about the lender. I'm concerned about my bank account, the person's bank. It's flowing in. So it will always be a positive value. In this scenario here, if I've taken 100,000 loan, PV, the present value will be a positive 100,000. You should just write 100,000. There's no need to write a plus. Very, very important. Now, if I have taken a loan, the loan has to be repaid in the form of installments. And when I am paying anything in the form of installments, the money starts to go out of my bank account. So in a classic loan scenario, PV is a positive 10,000, in a positive value. PMT is called the monthly pay. PMT is called regular payment rather than monthly payment, a regular payment involved. Now, in a loan scenario, this could be the installment that I am paying. And in a compound interest question or in an investment question, this could be any regular income that I am, any regular money that I am topping up my investment with, or any money that I am receiving from that investment. So PMT can take various scenarios. Loan I'm paying, investment I might be paying, I might be getting. But the basic principle still remains the same. If it's going out, negative. If it's coming in, positive. So let's say I've taken a $100,000 loan and I'm paying $400 per month. That $400 flowing out, it will be negative 400. And then is FV, the future value. It tells me what is the value of my investment or my loan after a given period of time. What is the value of the loan or investment after a period of time? Now, if I have taken a loan, let's understand this. If I have taken a loan, let's say, and I'll change the color of my pen. Let's say I've taken a loan of 100,000 and I'm, let's say, doing a PMT. That means a regular payment of $400. And let's say this loan that I've taken is for 10 years and I'm paying monthly. So my N is 120. And I now ask you that tell me what will be, how much loan will be outstanding after 5 years? That is the future value, FV. After 5 years, what's the value of my investment? That is future value. Now let us say, after 5 years, I still owe bank a $60,000 because bank would have charged some interest as well, right? So my loan in the half time period will not be exactly half of 100,000. So this is the future value. Now, this future value is $60,000 that I still need to repay to the bank. Yes or no? Right? Still outstanding, sitting in my bank account, ready to go out in next 5 years. So FV will be a negative value. You will get an FV to be a negative value if you're trying to calculate the future value after 5 years. So always remember your PV and your FV will always be opposite signs. In a loan, money comes in, PV is positive. That money sits into your bank account, ready to go out at a regular interval, which is PMT minus, which is a negative value, and your future value is still sitting in your bank account, ready to be flushed out, is also negative. Eventually, when I will finish off my loan in 120 months, I will fully repay that loan. I'm talking about the loan scenario in this. What will be the future value? All money is gone from my bank account, so my future value will be zero. So the goal of a loan scenario, for that matter, is getting future value to be zero, paying down your loan. So future value will always be opposite of the present value. So in loan scenario, present value is positive, future value will be negative or zero. What happens in the world of investment scenario? The world of investment. Investment means that your money is going to grow. So if I have, let's say now, if it's not a loan scenario, it is an investment scenario, and now I have invested 100,000, the money is gone out. So my PV will be negative. And this money is going to grow if I'm not taking anything out of it. In that case, my future value will be the final compounded or grow, the final value that I will receive at the end of the tenure of my investment, provided my PMT is not there, if I'm not pulling anything out of it. If I'm putting more money into it, my PMT will be a negative value. So, to summarize, present value and future value are always opposite signs. Money coming in is positive, money going out is negative. For loans, future value will eventually be zero because I will fully repay my loan. And for investments, compound interest investments, the future value will be the inflated value of my investment that I have initially started with. So future value will be a bigger value. And there are various special cases here where investment can also be a future value of zero if it's an annuity or perpetuity. We'll talk about it, right? Not perpetuity, but uh, all the other things. But I'm just doing very basic. Now, next thing, and we'll probably do a question that'll make a lot more sense. Don't worry about it. Let's take this off. Wait, take this off. Now, the next thing that you will see is PPY and CPY. So PPY, CPY. PPY is called payments per year. And CPY is called compounding per year. Now, what is the difference? What I have noticed is that most of the schools, when they take this lesson and they start explaining financial solver, they will always say PPY and CPY are same, so just copy paste the same values. But make someone who's made a financial solver is not stupid, right? They would have given the two values for a reason. Otherwise, they would have just combined both of them into one, right? Sorry, I'm just taking this off. Make some space. Now, I give you an example that will make you understand how PPY and CPY are different. I have two scenarios. Let's say Darshan, just using the short form, DR, Darshan takes a loan of 100,000, which is compounding monthly, and Darshan is making a monthly repayment of $400. And Darshan has taken this loan for 10 years. Now, compounding monthly, and he's paying monthly. CPY, compounding per year. How many times the compounding is happening in Darshan's case? Monthly. So CPY is 12, compounding per year. How many payments Darshan is making in 1 year? He's making monthly payments, clearly written. So that means his CPY, his PPY, the payments per year, is also 12. No dramas. They are exactly the same values. Absolutely fine. Now comes Mehul. He also takes $100,000. And I'm not talking about the N and I'm not talking about the I and the PMT. I'm just trying to make you explain the PPY and CPY. We'll do a full-blown question and it'll start making a lot more sense. Mehul takes $100,000, but Mehul's bank says, hang on, we are going to do a compounding quarterly. But Mehul, you are going to pay monthly, you are also going to pay monthly installments of $405. And let's say 10 years. Now, for Mehul, how many times compounding is happening in a year? 4. It is compounding quarterly. So for Mehul, CPY becomes 4, compounding per year. But he ends up still paying monthly. His PPY remains 12. So that is the difference between CPY and PPY. Otherwise, if they copy paste, they should have been the same value. Very, very important. In the VC exams, I have not seen many questions where your compounding and your payments are a mismatch, but at times they do throw that in. So be careful when you are doing CPY, PPY values. You find one, don't copy paste the other value straightforward into. All good? And last but not the least is called, if you look at it, is called PMT Act, Payment PMT Act. This will always set to end. You will not change it unless the question tells you to. 99.9%, they will test you at PMT at value to be end, but at times they can trick you with a different value. If you look at it, you have beginning or end. What does that actually mean? It actually means, so for example, I'll give you another example here to make it understand. I mean, these questions, this is not dealt at that depth when they're doing it in the school, right? Half of the time they'll tell you PMT equals to end finish line. But what does PMT at end means? So let's say in Mehul's scenario and in Darshan's scenario, let's take this example again. Now there's a slight more twist in this scenario. Let's say Darshan's bank tells Darshan that, okay, we are going to apply the interest. Let's say both of them are given a 12% per annum interest rate. But Darshan's bank tells Darshan that we are going to apply the interest after the end of the month. So Darshan is doing monthly payments, compounding monthly, and he's at 12% per annum, which means how much is Darshan's monthly payment? 12 divided by 12 is 1% per month, right? That's what Darshan's rate of interest monthly means for a 12% per annum. Now, this 1% will be applied at the end of the month, not at the start of the month. So let's say Darshan has a $100,000 outstanding in January 1st. So the bank will apply 1% at the end of the January, which is the 31st day of the Jan. While Mehul's bank tells Mehul that we will apply the same rate of interest, but we are going to apply it at the beginning of the month, at the beginning of the compounding period. Beginning of the compounding period. But Mehul's compounding period was a quarter. First quarter is Jan, Feb, March. So if Mehul is set to a beginning for PMT at, it actually means that in this scenario, the interest will be applied 1st of Jan. and not 31st of March. Beginning of the compounding period or end of the compounding. That's the difference. When is the interest applied in the scenario? Beginning means start of the compounding period, end means the end of the compounding. If Darshan's if in Darshan's scenario, if this would have been a beginning, if Darshan would have been also at a beginning, yeah, then he's on monthly. So rather than a 31st of July, 31st of Jan, he will also pay the interest on 1st of Jan, beginning of the compounding. Is this clear, everyone? Thumbs up. So far, what we've chatted about today. Yes or good? Let's do a question and try to understand how Financial Solver works. Now, I want you all to get your CAS out, please, and go to the Financial Solver, and let's read it through and see what values can be put into various things. Lars invests. Okay, investment means money is going out of Lars' bank account. How much is he investing? $500,000. So can you put PV equals to negative 500,000 because money is gone out. At 5% per annum, I value is 5% per annum. So it is an annum value. Compounding monthly, can you go and put CPY equals to 12? He makes a regular deposit. He's shelling more money out of his pocket. How much? 500. Can you do PMT equals to, now this 500 is more going out more, negative 500 because it's still flowing out of his account. And at what interval he is making this regular payment? Per month. Can you make your PPY as 12 as well? Because he's now doing monthly repayments. What is the value of his investment? So that means we are after an FV value, future value. I don't need to do anything at FV at this point in time. Don't touch it. You still have one more value to fill in, the N, for 5 years. So N is 5 years, but he's making monthly payments. So 12 times 5, N, make N equals to 60. Now all the rows are filled. FV is blank. Go to FV and press enter. And you see what you get. So if we just go here and we say, oops, sorry. This is CPY is 12, PPY is 12. Future value I need to find. So I just take it off. PMT is, how much is he making? Monthly, he's making negative 500. Present value was negative 500. Yep, 500,000. What else? I is what? 5%. N value is 120. And if I come at here and I press enter, that's the value of my investment. A positive a little over $900,000. Forget about the decimal places. My decimal places settings are 6 digits. And you see what's happening here. He's got a positive value. You don't see a negative here. So that means at the end of 120 months, 5 years, his $500,000 has grown to a little over $900,000, and he's also making a $500 investment. He's topping it up as well in the overall scheme of things. That, in a nutshell, is what Financial Solver is all about, with a example of investment. Is this clear, everyone? All right? Awesome, cool.